right, so I'm here to introduce you to CARB's new air monitoring field training program for site operators and calibration staff. And so I want to talk to you about why we need a training program, what should be included in a training program, and how you can use CARB's training program. So here we go, okay. So why do we need a training program for site operators and calibrators? For one, we got called out on our EPA TSA and for not having one. And I know a bunch of you in the audience got the same findings, so I'm going to show you what we did to resolve it. So we've all attended previous PQAOs, and on this one, we've all gotten a similar message. And I hope you remember the messages that we went home with. And if it wasn't documented, it wasn't done. So as far as our training goes, we never had a documented program, but we always had a training program. It just wasn't in writing. So how do you prove that you or your staff have been trained? Well, our training program is the answer. So we want to be sure that new staff don't do things that they weren't trained to do, and training ensures that equipment is operated correctly and safely. And then we want consistency in site operation and procedures among our staff. So what happens when you don't have a good training program or a good trainer? The job may not get done correctly or efficiently. 40% of employees who receive poor job training leave within the first year. Okay, I'm having trouble with this. Here we go. So for safety, we lift heavy equipment, we climb on roofs, we climb ladders, we work with electrical components, and if there's an injury, it doesn't impact just the injured person, it impacts everybody in the group because we have to take over their duties. So we don't want that to happen. Station operators, they have customers too. They have their managers and the data users. They're all looking for their data. So how do we ensure uncontaminated samples, quality data, on-time delivery? If we don't have proper training, we're not going to meet any of those requirements. Let's see. This isn't working well. I'm just having trouble moving it.
Just use a clicker.
No, the notes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So our data might be used for enforcement or attainment designations, and all this impacts communities and air districts. You just lost me.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. There we go. Let's see. I am so sorry about this. I'll go by hand.
So, just here.
Nope. Here we go. Okay, sorry about this. Technical difficulties. So there are safety issues and customer issues. We want to make sure we have uncontaminated samples. We want to make sure our data is of high quality, and we want on-time delivery. So we need to know the steps in order to get all of this. So our data must be legally defensible, and hiring and training staff is really expensive, and it's very time-consuming. And data generation from our monitoring sites is labor-intensive and expensive. So we can't afford to lose staff or data because of inadequate training. So who will be the trainer? We need to include that in the training program. And what are the trainer's responsibilities? ARB has, or CARB has described what a qualified field trainer should be. It should be someone that knows how to perform the job, someone that can be an effective teacher, someone that can explain why things are done as well as how they're done, and can answer questions correctly and tactfully, and someone that is compatible with the trainee. If your best staff is the biggest grouch in your group, he may not be the best trainer. So choose your QFT carefully. The QFT works with the manager to develop a trainee-specific plan and to determine what constitutes proficiency. So the trainee, they have some responsibilities too. They need to be an interactive learner, and this means asking questions. The trainee has to feel comfortable enough to ask for clarification or to ask the trainer to repeat instructions to ensure the trainee understands how and why things are being done. As well as hands-on training, the trainee must also be trusted to become familiar with the SOPs, the quality control criteria, regulations, and other documented policies. So include all of the, I'm a slide behind. So include all of the tasks that will be trained in order to do the job and the dates they are expected to be completed. So the first step in the training program is for the trainer to work with the trainee, with the manager, to create the plan based on the expected job duties for the person being trained. Then give the plan to the trainee for review, discuss the details and expectations, and address any concerns or questions they may have. And then have them acknowledge their understanding of the expectations by signing the form included in the plan. So this is the checklist that's in CARB's training program. And if you haven't already received a copy of it from your CARB liaison, you can get it from our quality control website. And it's under PQAO Training Resources. The checklist includes the course name or task, the expected completion dates for each task, and the date it was completed, and the trainer's initials. So it specifies online training such as CARB's Air Academy, previous PQAO trainings. I think we have all those online now. APTI courses on basic concepts, statistics, and meteorology. There are some onboarding tasks for new staff to get familiar with the office and the facility in general. And general training includes safety, defensive driver training, heat illness protection, orientation at the site, and operating schedules. So one of the things we will be adding is a column for the trainees' initials. We want them to confirm that they were trained adequately on each task. So I think this is one of EPA's recommendations for us. This section is for on-the-job training for site operation, and there are separate checklist pages specific to each instrument for both operation and monthly QC forms. Depending on the site the trainee will be operating, they may not need to know each and every instrument that we have in our use. The training should be customized to the individual being trained and to their specific responsibilities for their sites. There are also tasks here for documentation and QA procedures. So this section is for staff that will be performing calibrations. And again, there are instrument-specific forms that should be attached. So document review covers SOPs, EPA handbook, and internal policies. Air quality data management system includes training on DMS, CARB logger, data validation, and data review. And as before, all the sections will have a column added for the trainees' initials. And this highlighted section is an important part at the end of the checklist. So the manager verifies that the training has been completed successfully, the trainee has shown proficiency, and the trainee is ready to do the job. You may want to add the trainee's signature as an acknowledgement that they've had all of the training and agree that they are ready and willing to work independently. So the key parts of the training program. Having a knowledgeable, competent trainer is crucial. You don't want anyone passing on bad habits or procedures that aren't included in the SOPs. You want to be sure the trainee knows what to expect and what's expected of them. You want to spell out everything that will be done. Operations, safety, QA/QC, sample handling, etc. And you want to include expected completion dates for each task. And you want to document what was accomplished. And acknowledge that both the trainee and the trainer are satisfied with the training. And the manager's signature shows the trainee is competent to do the job. So how can you use CARB's training program? Like Lena said, we did the hard work, so go ahead and just copy it. But you might have different equipment, and you might have different procedures, different databases, and you might do things in addition to what CARB does. So add your own procedures and your own expectations for your staff. So review the details and expectations for training with the trainee. Have the trainer and trainee sign off when the task is completed or the procedure is mastered. Include the manager's sign off to say the trainee passed your proficiency tests and can do the job. And review and update the plan often. Look at it before you use it with a new employee. When you make procedural changes, be sure they get into the training as well as your SOPs. And did you get new equipment recently? If so, you'll need to make specific sheets, training sheets, and add that to the document also. So don't hesitate to use the updates with the current staff because you want to show that everyone has been trained. So these are the questions we started with, and I hope I've answered them. Why do we need a training program? For documentation and consistency among all of our staff. What should be included? Your expectations for completing the tasks, the dates training was performed and completed, and signatures of the trainer, trainee, and the manager. And how to use the program? Customize it and update it regularly. So now you can create your own training plan and close out your TSA finding if you haven't done so already. So if you don't have a copy of the plan already, here's the website. And I want to acknowledge Reggie Smith and say thank you. He's been using this plan for years, but it just never got into writing, and he did that, and so now we're all set. So thank you, Reggie. I can take your questions now, or you can contact me or Reggie, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.